Now, labor laws, when we say, that is what? Understanding labor rights, wages, and workers' and entitlement. So, this is the topic. In a way, it is more of labor laws, right? Related to that, what are the rights of the workers, laborers? Because all of us are going to work in some way or other, in some place or the other. So, that's why this is a preparation, this legal awareness program, going to be a really boost for you when you work. See, if you know about law, when you know about the rights, that becomes very, what to say, is a weapon in your hands. If you know your rules and regulations, you can also fight with not with the violence or anything, fight with for your rights. I think that is what the this capacity building program is going to do. The capacity of yours for the future career or your work will be enhanced. What is the basis of the labor laws? Where do you base the labor laws? Where do you what is the source of that labor laws? What do you say? Where the laws coming from? These labor laws? Is there anything come to your mind? For the country, for India, what is that basic law? As you students, you will be knowing, isn't it? Constitution of India, which is the basis for all other laws and including the labor laws. So when you say the labor laws, they do not come from as an independent this one, they come or they spring from the Constitution of India. When we say that, where is it? Now this labor laws. What is labor? Working, isn't it? Yeah, is it correct? So labor is working. That means human energy is used for a enhancement, okay, for anything. Human energy is used. That means the spending time using energy to build something. It may be physically, manually, that means putting the physical energy and doing the work which enhances for the future, or it can be mental energy. Am I right? So that is what labor. Human labor is the most important thing. It is a God-given gift to be co-creators. That means by doing that, we also become in God's mission, that is to become the co-creators, because we enhance the God's creation and make it beautiful. So in that sense, the labor laws are the concurrent subject. That means simply you understand that concurrent subject means that labor laws are also part of the union government, the central government, and also it is part of the state government. So the labor laws are made by both the state government as well as the central government. When we say it is coming from the constitution, let's see some of the constitutional basis for because all laws are coming from there. Change. So see the article 14, in workplace there must be equality. Do you like in your work if you are discriminated? No, because there should be some equality. Then also 15 will say prohibition of all discrimination. Then whenever there is work, you see, you can have the freedom to form the association. These are all, fundamental rights which are given to the citizens and non-citizens. And they are the ones which will say that, which are the most important. See, even that prohibition of child labor, children are not allowed to work. So that is the next one. So that there is also something called directive principles of the state policy. There also like article 38, 39, 41 and all these are next one also. These are the ones which are there in the another part of the constitution. You know something about constitution? First, there are 22 parts in the Constitution. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Like that, it goes to up to 22 parts. Then each paragraph is numbered. That number we call it article. The last number, what is the last number? 395. See, there is something. So 395 is the last. So that means total how many articles are there? 395. See, the labor laws coming from the Constitution of India, especially from the fundamental rights, that is the part 3 of the Constitution, from Article 12 to 35. Then directive principles of the state policy. It starts from 36 to up to 51. So now, why labor laws? Why do we need labor laws? Is there some advantage? What is the purpose or the goal of the labor law? Now, these laws are made to protect the workers, to protect the laborers, to protect the employees. First one, what? From exploitation. See, when the employer, they can exploit, maybe by paying less or not paying at all, or cutting some amount, deducting some amount. These are all called exploitation. In order to protect the employee or worker, this is first one. Second one is promoting a fair and equitable employment. That means a fair, equitable, equality, without any discrimination. All workers, all laborers, all employees must share. Okay. Then we have also regular working condition. What is the working condition? For example, the hours of work. When your work should start and when it should. You can't be there on 24 hours. Can you be there? No. So it is certain amount of hours of work. During that you need a break. Then also other working conditions should be there. Then also there should be harmony between the employer and employee. Otherwise, you cannot work and produce goods and services. So there is harmonious relationship. Also, there is something called social security and welfare for the future. Workers also need to develop their further. The last one is, thus in all that you follow, there is an economic activity. There is a growth in the production and also the productivity increases. So these are all the objectives of labor law or the purpose. Let's go to the next one. Now, let me make you say, what is labor? See, there is some words, the distinction will make labor, and I would like to later on use the word called employment. Now, what is the labor? Any person who does certain investing energy to produce it is called labor. Even it can be labor means, you see, labor refers to human efforts. Investing human energy, physical or mental, used for the production of goods and services. Very simple, no? You understood that? So using human energy, either physical or mental, in order to produce goods and services. Even if your mother is working at home, it is labor. Or your father is working in the field, it is labor. It may not be an employment. Am I right? That's not an employment. Alright? It is one of the 3 SH classes. If you know economics, there is something called factors of production. In order to produce or production, you need land, capital, labor and organization. You see, labor is one of the most important component of the production, the factors of production. Then also labor can be manual, physical energy, mental energy, and sometimes they also call it spiritual energy. So that's why the labor. Labor, when we say, it can be formal or informal. Formal means, if you use the word, is like somebody is working in the factory, a laborer, that becomes formal. Suppose a family member works in the field or at home, it is an informal, or sometimes even a domestic servant, it can become an informal. So that is both formal, labor can be used as formal as well as informal sector. Now you must know that one of the big number of people who are working is in the informal sector. Correct? Yes. Next one. Now I am distinguished. I told you what is labor. Now when you are going to work in a, let us say, hospitality sector, you are not going to do only labor. You are going for an employment. Now, what is the difference in that employment and labor? In employment, first of all, there is a relationship. Employment relationship. That is why you call it employment. Now, employment is a contractual relationship. So, what is it? It is a relationship based on an agreement or a contract. See, you do not go to that hotel where you are going to work as a, let's say, manager or whatever. You do not walk into that hotel and start doing all that work, no? How do you start that work in that wherever you go to a hospitality sector? How will you start? Okay, that means there is a formalities are there. You first apply, then they will call you for an interview, then there will be an agreement, or then there will be an appointment. Or in that way, you start a relationship. At home or in your other places, there won't be. There won't be. Is there interview? Is there like your mother going to cook or prepare something? Is there an interview there? No. Is there an appointment letter given to her? No. But it is labor, but it is not employment. Okay? Employment will be always between an employer and an employee. So, it is a contractual relationship between the employer and the employee. Will you remember this? So that is what said. Employment is a contractual relationship between individual, that employee, and employer. Now, it involves the performance of work in exchange of remuneration. See, what is this contract is all about? The contract will say you are going to invest your either physical or mental energy for this many hours, and in return the employer will give you an amount of money. If he says I will give 2 chicken, that is not employment. That remuneration should be monetized. Suppose if your employer say you come and work in my some organization, every day I will give you 2 kilos of pork. That is not employment. You remember this performance of work, that means the employee is going to perform by investing his or her energy, and the employer will pay a remuneration or whatever you call it, a salary or this monetized amount. Now these are governed by what is this now? What conditions? It all in that agreement, all in that appointment. So in order to formalize your employment, you must have a written document. It can be verbal, but verbal will always change. So it is best is always to have it in writing. Either you call it an agreement or an appointment, because that will explain the terms and conditions of your doing the work and the terms and conditions that of the employer. Both employees and employee, it should be included, because that has to be fixed beforehand. Okay, if a big organization, they will have service rules. But if it's a small business entity, there may not be. So it is clarity. But it will also include the control and supervision of the employer. But if you go to work somewhere and say, you will tell your seniors, no, you don't tell me, I know what to do. Then that will go against, for example, the control and supervision by the employer over your work performance. Because finally, you are to be evaluated on the performance you do. Next one. Now, the distinction is simple distinction. We are clear. Labor laws, when we say, we are in the context of employment, not as labor, because it is a contractual relationship between the employer and the employee regarding the exchange of of labor and the monetization. So there are aspects, for example, it can be, so you can read, I will leave this if you want. Next one. So that's it. Now, who is an employee and who is an employer, we'll see, and what are their rights and their duties. First of all, who is an employee? Yeah, one who gives the energy. Who invests the energy, physical or mental, or who gives the services to another person who is an employee. Alright, the one who works, one who renders his or her labor. An employee is a person hired by an employer. So he is hired by an employer to perform work in exchange of remuneration. Understood? Who agrees to work? Employee. Who pays remuneration? Employer. So that is what. Now this is it is a employment relationship. Alright. It is not a family relationship. Alright. It is an employment relationship. So there are some terms and conditions to be followed. Now it is preferred to have it in writing. Alright. Though it can be oral also, but we forget. No, human beings forget. When the time changes, they no, I have not said this one. It happens. Yeah, if it written is, it will not be changed easily. So that, but always the employee cannot resist the supervision and the control of the employer relating to the employment. For example, you are employee, now you suddenly said 9 o'clock is the work, one day you go at 9 o'clock, another day 9:15, another 9:30. Now that may not be acceptable because you are under the control for that. Or even some organizers say you will not use your mobile or other things. So it's only you are agreed to give your time to my organizations. Okay. So this is what he is, an employee. Let us see who is or the next slide. So what is the aspect, key attributes of an employee? First of all, he or she should get wages. It can be wages, salary, remuneration, whatever you call, it is as monetized. Then there is continuity, there is also subordination, there is integration and also control. That means when you understand those words, see whether any difficulty is there. Okay, so these are already explained to you. Next one we will see now. How do you classify, what are the types of employees are there? Different types. See, sometimes they are called as permanent. Permanent means long-term employee with full benefits. That means they will retire only when they reach the age of retirement, superannuation. Till then, you will call them as permanent workers. Then there is temporary work. What is it, temporary work? It is for a period of time, temporary, maybe for 1 year, 2 years. It's also called fixed term employment, or it can be also for certain temporary means you can come like a casual. Come for 1 hour, you work and you go. It can be that way also. Then there is a casual. Casual means there is no regularity. You know, one day is needed, another day is not required, like that. It is called casual employment. Then there is contractual. Contractual means it is as per the contract or agreement agreed by both the parties. So that will be a contractual employment. Apprentice. What is apprentice? Suppose you are doing an internship or you completed in your degree. You want to work under somebody for some time. So it can be called as apprentices. Fixed term, years. Okay. The time duration, how long you have to work. And also called a probationary employee. What is now this probationary employee always connected with a permanent, because now suppose you are going to a college, you are applying to be a lecturer there, and there is a vacancy, you are selected, but they want to know whether you are suited for this job or not. So they say you are 1 year probation, you do this work for 1 year. After that you will be regularized. So now that period is called probation. Is this clear for you?
Yes.
Yes. Now you see next one. Now the rights of employee. Rights of employee. That means what are the rights are there for a worker. So you can say what are the rights of worker, what are the rights of the laborers, or of the rights of the employees. Now these are the one I have explained by simply right for a fair wage. It is not, you see, it is not a word used for only wages. It is a fair wage. Fair means, what is fair wage? One is equal, another one fair means whatever minimum is fixed by the government. Alright, that's why. So then right, not non-discrimination, that is not to be discriminated in the workspace. Then safe working conditions, social security, sometimes PF or gratuity, all those are social security. Then leave, rest period, then to form union or even to bargain collectively, that means as all workers together. Then for the unfair dismissal, if the person is dismissed unfairly means without any reason, and this. Then last one is grievance. If there is some employee grievance, it must be redressed by the employer in a proper way. So these are largely the rights of the employee or the laborer or the worker. Next one is again there is a duty to follow. Now these are duties. Earlier what was it? Rights. So rights also will have this. So employee must follow. These are the duties. What is the first duty? Yeah, whatever lawful instructions regarding the work, that employee must follow. Second one, maintain discipline and proper conduct. Correct? The conduct which is needed for that particular job. Then duty to protect. Yes, see, employer is giving you certain facilities or whatever is property, whatever is under your care, employee's care. So employee must take utmost care to protect the property and the interest of the, it's not only property but also interest of the employer, because you are working for employer. The employer's interest is the best interest in the business or in the employment. So duty to maintain safety standards, even some hazardous work especially, or certain safety measures must be there. Then there is duty to avoid conflict of interest. Now can you say what is this duty to avoid the conflict of interest? Can you give me one example? Let's see what could be conflict of interest. Okay. See, it is not that. See, now for example, I am a lawyer. Okay. We have a law firm. Okay. All those who are sitting are here lawyers. We have a lawyer. Now she also wanted new lawyer. She want to work with us. Now we may be having lot. Now she has to work fully as per our interest. Now if she is a lawyer, she can also help others. Now if she goes to help or take up that similar work in another way, then that will be a conflict of interest. Suppose another one thing, suppose you are working in a, let us say, shall I say hotel? Okay, there you are working. Now you are full employee of that. Now you know some secrets of that particular X restaurant or hotel. There is also a B competitor. There is a B as a competitor in the same business. You have a friend there. You have a friend in that hotel B. Now you cannot share the secrets of the A hotel with the B, and you cannot divulge the certain interest of that. Even if you have to help out to B, you cannot help B directly. You follow something? This will be known as conflict of interest in simple words. So you cannot take up a competitive job elsewhere in this one. So conflict. Then also to keep in mind maintain the confidentiality of the business or the employment, because in the course of employment you may be knowing a lot of information that must be maintained as confidentiality. Then also to cooperate if there's an investigation, audit, and also another thing is to update, duty to update skills, duty to update knowledge. See, once you join an organization, that's no, over, finish. I have to only work and get my salary. Finish. No, you have to update yourself as per that is also the duty of an employee. Next one. So I said this much. Now there is something I will tell you. There is something called labor code. Now the new laws relating to labor, they are called as labor codes. That code means laws are codified. Laws collected, put it, made as one code. Now we will see there are 4 codes. How many? 4 codes. Do you know any one of them? That's why we will learn now. Okay. How many codes are there? 4 of them. Let's see. The first one is code on wages. Very simple. Code on. So these laws, that means there are different laws. It came in 2019. The laws, they were there earlier, but they are codified. They put together. Now these are all central laws, but the state laws also can be there. Now what do they speak about? They all speak about wages. They all speak about wages. You know, wages means you can say salary, honorarium, remuneration, all that is wages. Now, in simple, this code will speak how much to pay, when to pay, and how to pay. Alright, payment you have to get, no? So, how much, when, how. So, that is what the code is all about. You can see. I will say. Now, what is this? Yeah, go ahead. Next one. Now, you see, first there are 4 laws related to this particular code. That means, in the first code, that is Code on Wages 2019, how many laws are there? 4. Which are they? Payment of Wages Act, Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Bonus Act, and Equal Remuneration Act. So how many? You have become already lawyers. Alright. Now, I will start the second one. Now, every state will have a list. How much is the minimum wage in that particular state? Of course, the maximum now is by the central government, but state government can fix a higher as a minimum, not lower than that. So if you are working in that area, you should know what is the minimum wages. Now, minimum wage will include all these conditions: living wage, a fair wage and a minimum wage. All right, let's not go into those details. Okay, now I will simply say when it is a minimum wage means how much money to be paid. On what basis? Now for that generally 3 categories are there, or you can make it 4. One is unskilled labor. What is it called? Unskilled. Second one is semi-skilled. Unskilled, semi-skilled. Third one is skilled. Fourth one is highly skilled. Only word is skilled, okay? Unskilled, semi-skilled, skilled, highly skilled. So these are the categories of the simple, no? How simple it is, you see. Okay. Now what is unskilled? What is unskilled work? Okay, I am sweeping and mopping. Do you need to go to a college and study how to sweep and mop? No. So very simple. Sweeping, mopping, cleaning, or shifting things. So these are called unskilled because you do not require any skill to perform that particular job. Okay. Semi-skilled. What is semi-skilled? Little bit skill is required. Okay. Little bit skill is required. Now, little bit means what? For example, cooking. I know you know. Little bit training if you get, the best cooking. Correct? You don't require to go to unless you want to become extra super, then you but some kind of this like that. So I'm just saying little bit of skilling is required. You don't require too much of skill. Partly you can say. Alright? Skilled. What is skilled? That means that, for example, driving. It is a skill. You have to totally master the driving. Otherwise, I will not sit in that vehicle. Alright. So if you want me to take, I will ask you a driving license, whether you trained or not. It's a skilled job or electrician or something like that. Then highly skilled. Some jobs it can be performed by highly skilled person. So that is what now for that government has made certain amount is due. You can just go to internet at any time and say what is the minimum wages in Delhi. They will give the amount what is fixed. So therefore, when your agreement made, never come below. And you said, sir, this is the minimum wage in Delhi. So that is what I am saying, minimum. I am not going into detail. Yeah, next you go. Okay, all right. So wages are fixed on different this one. That is time rate or piece rate. Time rate means per hour it can be, for that work it can be, or whatever may be. But if it daily, if it will be hours of work, if it 8 hours, then the particular amount fixed. Let's go to the next one. Now, second one is Payment of Wages Act. Now, what is this law says? When that amount should be paid. One is the minimum wages. Now, Payment of Wages Act 1936. This law came much before independence, but certain changes are made. For simple thing, what we know is, you change the slide, if there's something else in there.
Just this.
Only one. Okay. I will explain to you what it is. Payment of wages. Now, if you are working for continuously for a month or something like that, when that money should be paid beforehand, it should be made clear to the employee whether it is a daily amount, weekly payment, or in month wise. So, what is that? When to pay, and the payment of wages must be paid during the working hours. You cannot make the employee to go again and again to beg that. If you see in Assam tea gardens, no, they will work for so many hours. After the work is complete, they have to line up to get their wages. That is also happens, that is what the law says on payment of wages. Next one is okay. There are 2 more laws are there, but that may not apply. For example, payment of bonus. Payment of bonus will be paid only in a profit-making industry. Only from the share of the profit will be divided among the workers, certain amount to the workers. Okay, that you will. Then there was an Equal Remuneration Act. Simply you understand that for the same work, same payment. Whether it is a man or woman or whatever, same work, same payment. So that is for. So what is the first code? Name of the code? Code on Wages 2019. Under that, how many laws are there? 4. Which are they? First one. Put that slide, please. Let them copy and say. First one. Yeah. Second one. Third one. Fourth one. Okay. Now let me go to the next code. Now next code, the name of the code is Code on Social Security. What is the code? Social Security 2000. You see, this came during the COVID time. Okay, well, modified, but laws which are there under this are. Now, see, that is wages. Is that relationship only you do the work, wage and finish? No, there are certain important aspect called social security of the workers, social security of the laborers or the employees. Because of that, certain laws are made are under this code. Under this code, there are, I think, 9 laws are there. Take me to the slide. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So, under this, how many laws are there? 9. We will not, this one I will say the meaning, you can, so now the first one is called Provident Fund Act. Okay. Provident Fund. Now, why Provident Fund is required? What is Provident Fund? PF means what? No, what PF? You know something. You know something. From there we'll build. Okay, say.
They something, some amount of like
Okay.
that they give it aside for us.
Right,
like,
right.
For the city.
Ah, right. Well, see, she knows already. So PF means very simple. Certain amount, certain percentage, let's say 12%, is taken from the employee's salary, and the employer will put the same amount and deposited in the called PF corporation. Now from there you will get loan and all, but now this amount will be a saving. That means 24% of your salary saved for the future, in which you get lot of benefits. So this is what called Provident Fund. Alright. Next one is Employees State Insurance Act. Now this is an insurance. Here also same thing. The employer and the employee, certain percentage is deposited in a state insurance corporation, and medical health reasons, medical and all that benefits are covered under this called ESI Act. Okay, ESI Act in short. So that is for health death insurance. Insurance related to the family member. Family member means immediate family. Okay, not only for the worker and his or her family. Third one is Maternity Benefit Act. Now what is this Maternity Benefit Act? So it is maternity for a mother, it is birth, before the childbirth and after the childbirth. It is a leave with pay. Leave, holidays, or what you call leave with pay. So how many weeks it is? 6 months. Okay, so they remember that that is what paid maternity leave and job protection. During that time, the employee cannot be dismissed. Alright, that is what job protection. So, next one is payment of gratuity. What is this gratuity? Okay, gratuity means ingratitude. Alright, gratuity means ingratitude. Payment in gratitude. For what? For the continuous service rendered by the employee. Continuous service rendered. So, suppose the employee works for 20 years with an employer, that person is eligible for an amount of gratuity at the end of service for those many years. Now what is the formula? Formula for you, it is simply half month salary. Alright, half month salary for 1 year. Suppose you are getting today, let us say 10,000 rupees. Alright, basic pay, you will not do the calculation. 10,000, you take it as a 5,000 is half, no? 5,000 into 20 years. Okay, that much amount will be paid as gratuity by the employer to the employee. Gratuity, that way. Now, if you are not done a good service, that means continuity, should be continuous service and without blemish. In your service should not be a black spot. If there's a black spot, then means there should not be any remark or something. It should be a unblemished service. For that, you will get gratuity. Next one is now employees compensation act. That means in the course of work, if there's any accident or death occurs, employer must compensate employee. Of course, there can be insurance and all that, but ultimate responsibility is to pay compensation is the person employer. Now, when you say employer, it is the not in this place of work, it is the in the course of employment. What is this in the course of employment? Starting from your home until you reach home is the course of employment. If you are gone for a work on employment, that is also part. Now suppose you are gone to do your work somewhere outside that office, outside your work area, that is also the course of employment, right? Yes. Then you forget about the others one. I am not going to deal with that. Next one. So now next then one more code is there. Two more codes are there. See, I am writing here Delhi Shops and Establishment Act. Every state will have its own Shops and Establishment Act. Now this is for Delhi, okay? You may have it for Nagaland, Manipur, everywhere, every state has this Shops and Establishment Act. They type what is shop, what is establishment, what is the holidays, hours of work, weekly off, everything is under that law. Okay, that means the basic will be under that law. That means how many days holidays, how many hours of work should be there, how much overtime, how much cannot be overtime is. So you have to learn something of that. Your particular place where you work, that law is called Shops and Establishment Act. Okay, remember. Next one is, next go ahead. That's also we'll skip it. Then wages is okay, it's also written. Overtime is there in that. Next one.
Sir.
Yes. Then there are two more codes. You have not done that. Two more codes. That is code on OSH. OSH means health, occupation, safety and health and all. That is related to what we say sector specific laws like Mines, Factory Act, Mines Act or dock workers. These are sector specific. So if you are working in a particular sector, that what are the health and safety things have to be followed. So that is may not be very important. That is called OSH, Occupational Safety and Health Code. That is what how much it is. Third code you write OSH code. Alright, occupational safety and there are many laws, but they are sector specific. Sector specific means what? Mines, factories, plantation, all that different factors are there. Then there is one more code. I said 4 codes, no? What is the fourth code? Fourth code is called IR code. IR, Industrial Relations Code. That means it is a relationship between the employer and employee. For example, trade union, then There are 2-3 laws are there under that. So that is not so important to. So in the basic, one thing is remember shops and establishment code. Then these 4 labor codes. Can you name them? 4 labor code. Code on wages, code on social security, code on OSH code, OSH, occupational safety and health code. Last one is IR code, industrial relations code. That means how employer and employee must relate, what are the. So this is what on labor laws in simple. Okay, so that is what to summarize, what did you study? So that means employer and employee, there are certain rights of the employees and there are certain duties of employees. At the same time, there are some rights of the employer and the employee, and these are the things. Hours of work, wages and all will be, most of them will be under the Shops and Establishment Act. Now practical things keep in mind. Suppose when you want to go for a work, never accept an employment merely on verbal assurance. Am I right? They will go, oh, you are a good child, okay, you come tomorrow or you join. Then you always find at least some kind of a written document. Either it will be it as an appointment or as an agreement. Whatever you say, something in writing. And if you have something, okay, you can suggest or something. But without, anybody is working here without any document, most of them working, is it right? No, I don't know, that's why I'm asking. Is it correct? So now what will be the danger if you work without any document? You will be fired at any time. You can't even ask even your pending wages. Because there is no relationship is created. See, imagine, you will understand. So, if at all, no, there is also a relationship between married people, no, husband and wife. How that relationship will start? You are right, huh? When they come together, when they stay together. When they marry. So first thing is asking, what they will ask you. What will they ask you? If you go for a formal, either a marriage certificate or a proof of marriage. Alright. Same way in any legal relationship, that is a legal relationship, but here also there must be something to start with that relationship between the employer and employee, the date of the starting of the relationship. So that's why the date of appointment or the date of that signing of that letter is the most important letter which will be, that letter will empower you to exercise your rights and duties. Same way it will become also the rights and duties and obligation of the employer. Otherwise you will be running to pillar to post without any, because even it cannot be, even your demand, for example, the employer has not paid you for last 6 months, you are working there, you do not have a document, even you can't go to the court because there is no proof of a legal relationship created. So therefore, what is the first thing is, you have to make sure that you get a letter of appointment or a letter agreement. Suppose he promised you to give, fine, you can try, because sometimes they will give later also, there's a come and all. But within a month, if you don't get your so-called appointment and all that, then there will be something. Yeah. So that is the first thing is to remember when you go for a work relationship. No, that relationship has to be created through a written document, properly, worded and all that. So for that you can always seek the help of your colleagues or somebody, so that the letter becomes the basis for your starting of rights and obligations. Because from the then, what are things to be written? It's not enough to write 2 sentences there. Certain things must be written. For example, when we draw the grade, okay, tomorrow onwards you do, then you don't have your holidays. Maybe if it's not clear for you, what time is arrival and the departure from the workspace. It is important that you can work only 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. Okay, as per the shops and establishment, you cannot work more than 9 hours. And so therefore, it should be written there what time to arrive for the work and what time to leave the workspace. So that will give you the hours of work. Next one is what should be there. When is your weekly off? After certain, there should be a weekly off. It need not be on Sunday. It can be on any other day. So that weekly off should be there. Then certain leaves, what you call, say leave is not your right, but it is discretion. So there can be different types of leave. What are those leave? Like for example, do you know leave of different types? What could be have you heard some leave? Not that in the college you ask the leave, no, that is a different one. But workspace, what are the names you heard? Okay, casual leave, number one, casual leave. What is casual leave? CL they call, no? What is casual leave? So it's a casual, you know that it's not a particular. Now casual means what? In a year, you will have certain leave for your personal work. It may vary from 8 to 12 like that in a year. Maybe 1 month, one holiday. So it may vary from 8 to 12. So that is casual. Now casual leave you have to take and exhaust. Alright. If you don't exhaust, they lapse. They want to continue. So that is called a casual leave. So even this casual leave for a small headache, this, all that will be part of that. Okay. Next one is sick leave. Okay. So health related. But then it's not for 1 day's headache. If it is for a longer period of time with the doctor's prescription and medical certificate, this is called your what leave is called? Sick leave. Okay. That means you have to be really sick with the doctor's proof. Okay. Alright. That is sick leave. Next one is, sometimes they call it festival, but in some places it is not there. Now there is also called restricted leave they put it. On those festivals you can take those restricted holidays. That means then public holidays. See, the public or national holidays and public holidays also it is closed. But suppose if it's something recent working, next is it has to be compensated. So on every shop or an establishment have certain public holidays. So that is has to be followed, public or national holidays. Then there is another one called paid or what you call EL, earned leave. Now earned leave is in case if you are working, by working in an organization or in a shop or establishment, you earn a leave. For example, if you continuously work for 1 year, you have 12 holidays. Now, in order to get that means it is in a year, if they give you 12 days work, in order to get at least that one leave, earned leave, you have to work for 1 month. After working 1 month, your earned leave comes into pay. Without working, you cannot. First year, you will not get an earned leave. Or so it will be calculated how many days you have worked based. Now, this earned leave can be carried forward for certain. There will be a ceiling will be there, or this leave can be encashed. Earned leave can be encashed. That means you can work and also get the cash. So that is depends on the policies of the establishment and organizations.